Well, before we get on with the playthrough that you've clicked on to play, I've got some exciting news for Tindalos Gaming. This is my very first subscriber giveaway. To celebrate Arkham Horror Chapter 2 release, I'm going to be giving away two items, two separate items, so two potential winners for a copy of Chapter 2, Arkham Horror. That's going to go to one of my lucky subscribers, and also separately I've got a copy of Film Fatale, the scenario, and I'm going to be giving that away as well. So you will be asking, what do you have to do to win these goodies? Well, all you have to do is be a subscriber and comment on one of the 3 videos that I'm going to be doing for the Brethren of Ash Chapter 2 campaign. So over the next few weeks, I'm going to be releasing videos to celebrate the new chapter release. Going to be playing the Brethren of Ash scenario. And all you need to do is be a subscriber and comment, and make any comment you want on the video. You can be calling me up on a rule that I get wrong, which is pretty much guaranteed. Or you can comment on how brilliant the video is, how poor the video is, whatever comment you want. And at the end of the campaign, I'll review all of the comments and obviously cross-reference about subscribers, and then I'll pick 2 lucky winners. One to win a copy of Chapter 2, the base set, and one to win a copy of Film Fatale. If you have any preference on which one you would like to win, or whether you would like to win both, maybe put that in the comment, and then I can have a look and see who wants what. Because you might already have a copy of Film Fatale, but not a copy of Chapter 2, and vice versa. But, you know, I thought it'd be nice to celebrate. I had a couple of copies of Film Fatale, and I wanted to make sure. I've had it for a while now, an extra copy, and I knew I was going to be doing a subscriber giveaway for Chapter 2, so I've kept hold of it. So, 2 lucky winners, that's all you need to do. Comment on the videos. You can do more than 1 comment. I will put every comment into a lucky dip, and I will randomly pick 2 subscribers to be given these prizes. You can be anywhere in the world. I will send it anywhere you are. Anyway, hopefully that's a nice bit of exciting news, and back to the playthrough that you've clicked on. Thanks a lot. Bye. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Tindalos Gaming, and welcome to episode 3 of my playthrough of the Brethren of Ash campaign for Arkham Horror, the Living Card Game, Chapter 2. Wow, it takes me long enough to say the intro now than maybe playing the game and dying. But yeah, we are on episode 3, which is the final scenario in the campaign Brethren of Ash. So it'll be interesting to see how the 2 investigators, Joe and Dexter, take on this thing. But before we do so, we've got some housekeeping bits to work through, which is some experience from the last campaign. So let's head across now to Arkham DB to see what we've done, or what I've done. Okay, here we are at Joe Diamond's amended deck. And to be perfectly honest with you, with just the 2 experience to spend, not really a lot going on. All I've done is I've taken out 1 copy of Laboratory Assistant and put in an additional copy of Bodyguard. That's the obviously 2 cost, 2 XP Bodyguard, bit better than the standard Bodyguard. But in all honesty, not too much to spend 2 experience on, and obviously with the card pool being the way it is at the moment, with it just being core set, not anything really that took my fancy. So Laboratory Assistant's gone and Bodyguard is in. Dexter, he had a mighty 2 experience to spend as well. So what I've done is I've taken out a copy of Sticky Fingers, and I put in a Decisive Strike, wherever that is. There it is. So that's a rogue card cost 2, 2 XP obviously, fight and an agility icon. You get +2 fight for this, and you deal +1 damage for the attack. And if you defeat an enemy, you gain 5 resources. So that's not too shabby at all. But that's pretty much it. As I've said, not really too much experience to spend. Didn't go particularly well the last scenario. I'd like to play through it again with some decks. These I'm using the starter decks, by the way. These are the ones out of the box. I'll have my own thoughts on these at the end of the campaign. But before I come to any of that, we've got to play the scenario 3. So let's get across to the table and find out what's going on. All right, here we are at the table. Just about set up. Obviously, I've done some setting up off screen. You don't want to watch me spend loads of time setting up a game, but we are playing scenario 3, Queen of Ash, and it says intro 1. Dr. Armitage thanks the waitress at Velma's diner as she sets 2 pieces of warm apple pie between you. The head librarian pushes one towards you with a strained smile. Arkham is changing. The world is changing. For the worse, I fear. But at least we have pie. Together, you and Dr. Armitage piece together a disturbing picture of the situation at hand. The Brethren of Ash are not conspirators, Armitage says. They are thralls, all of them. Thralls of an ancient goddess, one they call Elokos. Dr. Armitage shows you a grotesque woodcut of a gnarled tree with burning branches before continuing. After attending one of the cult's secret gatherings, some prospective followers develop a strange bruise that marks them as one of the Elokos' own. These followers are from all walks of life, rich and poor, weak and strong. Most importantly, these thralls have no idea that they are under her sway. Your mysterious pursuer is one such thrall. According to the prophecy, the servant of flame who attacked us at the university is the harbinger of the Queen's return. The servant gathers sacrifices to make her the way for the Queen's glorious rebirth, a rebirth that they predict will happen this very evening. So based on your campaign difficulty, perform the following. We are on standard, so we're going to add an elder thing and a tablet to the chaos bag. So that's done. Check your campaign log. If your investigators discovered the cult's whereabouts, proceed to intro 2, which we did. Intro 2. The thought of your friend being sacrificed chills you to the core. Rather than piece together circumstantial evidence, you suggest that you search the Servant of Flame's residence for some clue. Your search turns up several leads. An invitation to a secret meeting, a pair of scuffed muddy boots, a record of bootlegging operations in the waterfront district, a photo of 3 faces lit by candlelight in the dark. Everything points towards the Arkham sewers. A bit foolish, wouldn't you think, for a cult to that worships fire to conduct their business in the sewers, Armitage chuckles. But I believe you are correct. Together you resolve to scour the sewers for any trace of your friend. Proceed to setup. So we have gathered all the cards from the 9 encounter sets. It says put the underground cistern into play, which is what we've done up here. Oh, sorry. Servant of the Flame is hogging places. My mistake. Put underground cistern into play, which is what I've done. Shuffle each of the location in the sewers encounter set so you do not know which is which and put them aside into play unrevealed, which is what I've done there. Set the sluice control aside out of play. Done. Each investigator begins at the sewer culvert. Check your campaign log. If the investigators scoured Arkham for answers, you have a general sense of where the ritual is. Each investigator begins the game with 1 clue. We'll need to check that. well, we didn't do any of these, so we can skip those. It says if there are 3 to 4 players in the game, place 1 doom on the agenda, which we don't need to worry about. Gather the fire encounter set and set aside each copy of fire along with the collector reward asset, Elikos, Queen's Knight, and the Herald of Flames. They're all out of play. Shuffle the remaining encounter cards to create the encounter deck. You are now ready to begin play. So we will do a couple of little bits before we actually start playing. First of all, we'll have a look at Queen of Ash. It's so the skull is -X, where X is the number of fire treacheries in play. The cultist token is -2. If this is an attack or an evasion target a cultist enemy, then reveal another token. We've got the tablet, which is -2, -4 if it's a ritual site. The ritual site's the cistern. And -3 is the elder thing. If you fail, draw the topmost copy of fire from the encounter discard pile. Our act is search the sewers. So that is the Brethren of Ash could be anywhere. You must search the sewers for the cult's ritual site if you hope to save your friend. Objective: when an investigator enters underground cistern, advance. Straightforward. And then our agenda is the gathering, or a gathering. Chanting echoes through the fetid tunnels. The cult's rebirth is at hand. Each enemy at a location with a copy of fire attached to it cannot be damaged. Delightful. And that's got 6 on it. Okay, we'll do some shuffling. These have been shuffled off screen, but we will shuffle on screen just to make sure there are actually no formal shenanigans. And we are completing our Catweasel contract of Catweasel cuts. So that's our encounter done and a cut. We will do the same for Dexter's deck. Now, with these decks the way they are, these being the absolute starter decks, I was quite confident after scenario 1, and after scenario 2, I'm not at all confident. I think the decks are okay. They are quite strange in places, in my opinion, for the cards that come with them. And I get that they're sort of there's a reason maybe for that, but they don't seem to be overly fine-tuned. But you know, as I said, that's just me. And then we'll do a Catweasel cut. And I think on that basis we are good to go. Okay, slight change around. I realised I could get my player boards onto the table, so they're all on there now. Obviously, Dexter's starting off with 5 health and 8 sanity because of his mental trauma he took. Physical trauma he took in the first scenario, as same with Joe. So he's down to 6 health and 7 sanity. No clues on either of them. We have caffeine, which is what I just done. Lovely jubbly. So we've got to try and get to the underground cistern, which has got on it as an additional cost to enter underground cistern. Investigators must spend 6 clues as a group. So we've got to try and find 6 clues. As ever with my games, and as some of you have spied, I will make mistakes. That's pretty much guaranteed. Trying to run 2 investigators, record, speak and think and understand the scenario that I've never played before. So apologies, I probably will make mistakes. Hopefully, usually most of them are to my detriment. Some are in my favour. For some reason or other, last time, and thank you for the couple of that pointed it out. I thought the Hellhound had 2 health, not 3. I think I was looking at his fight rather than his health. So apologies for that. I'll try and make sure I read all the cards and understand all the shenanigans. But again, advance apologies if I make mistakes. Okay, so let's draw our opening hand. We'll get 5 for Dexter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What are we looking for? Allies, stuff that's going to help us with clues. We've got Second Sight, which is an investigate. I like that. Soul Link. We can play it, but we take a horror. But that's three wilds. I think I'm going to take that. Spiritual Intuition. Don't necessarily think I need that. Now, we've got an Oliver, definite keep. That's an expensive opening hand. We've got to paint the town red, which I don't think I need. Second Sight is so good though, as is Oliver. Both full cost. Do I ditch a Soul Link? I think I ditch a Soul Link at this point. I'm going to keep Second Sight and Oliver and hope we draw an emergency cash. So we've got 3 to draw. So we're going to get 8. There we go. An emergency cash. We've got for my next trick. Oh, that's good. And we've got Mask of Silentness. Oh, God. That's not a bad opening hand. That is not a bad opening hand, if I say so myself. Premonitions of what's to come. Oh, God. I'm still scarred by the last scenario. But anyway, let's stop talking about the last scenario, NB. Don't need to worry about that. Right, there we go. Cat Weasel cut. And that's down there for that. So we've got our opening hand for Dexter. Joe, what are we going to get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Weapon would be good. So we've got a gather intel. We've got an overpower. We've got a scene of crime. We've got an endurance, and we've got a fedora. I'm not convinced by any of those, if I'm brutally honest. So we're going to ditch all 5 of those. And we're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we got? We've got Through the Cracks. Overzealous is a weakness. We'll draw another one. We draw into an overpower. We've got a counter attack. We've got a vicious blow. And we've got a local map. Yeah. Okay. Not too bad. Cat Weasel cut. And there we go. We are off to the races. Let's flip over Sewer Culvert. Sewer Culvert is connected to each sewer. So that's why I've not put loads and loads of arrows out. So Sewer Culvert is connected to all of the sewer tunnels. It's 1 shroud, no clues, and we've got an action there to resign. Always delightful. Always delightful. So I think where I went wrong last time is I split up, and I don't think I'm going to do that this game. I think I'm going to try and keep the 2 of them together. It does limit how much stuff you can open up, but I think the grand scheme of things, we will do that. So first of all, first action for Dexter. I'm going to play an emergency cash to take me up to 8 resources. Okay, and I think for my second action, not gonna play for my next trick just yet. I'm gonna second action. I'm gonna pay 4 down to 4 for Oliver, and for my third action, I'm gonna pay 4 down to 0 for Second Sight. Comes in with 3 charges. No, I'm going to use that as my second action because I'm going to use Dexter Drakes. After you play an asset, either return a non-story asset you control to your hand or play a different asset from your hand. I played Second Sight. Remember the special rules, MB. Remember the special rules. So he's got 1 action left. Well, I am going to exhaust Oliver. And Dexter's going to move up to this sewer tunnel here. There's no rhyme or reason other than let's just do it. So we'll flip over and we are in overgrown tunnels. 2 shroud, 1 clue per investigator. And that's slightly frustrating because it's got forced after you enter this location, lose 1 action. So my remaining action I've lost. Brilliant. Brilliant. All right, for Joe. I can play this. I can do this. So first action for Joe is going to be pay 3, so down to 2 resources to play a local map. Comes in with 3 secrets on it, 4 secrets on it. I'm going to immediately use one of those for his second action. Spend a secret, investigate a revealed location. You get +1 for this investigation. If you succeed, you may exhaust local map to move to that location. Don't need to. I'll exhaust local map to investigate. I'm 4, 5 because of the local map. 5 against 2. 5 against 2. I think I'm happy with that. 5 against 2. What's the chaos bag going to be like today? 5 against 2. 0. We pass. We gain a clue. Joe gets a clue. After you successfully investigate, draw 1 card. Joe's going to draw an endurance. I quite like that. I quite like that. Don't need to move. I said I was said I was going to keep them together, but I don't really want Joe Diamond to move now. So for his third action, I'm going to spend 2 to play endurance. That's it for Joe. That's it for the investigation phase. We go to the enemy phase. There are no enemies in play. We go to the upkeep phase. We ready up. We get our actions back. Dexter gains a resource up to 1 and he gets a decisive strike. Joe gets a resource up to 1 and he draws a card and he gets his fedora. I'm not convinced by that card. I'm really not convinced by that card. I know it's a head slot, but 2 cost for 1 and 1. Not overly convinced. Okay. That's it for the upkeep file. We ready up Oliver and we ready up local map. We go into the mythos phase. We take a drink of coffee to prepare ourselves. We put 1 doom on the agenda, 1 of 6, and Dexter draws his encounter card. Dissonance. Test willpower 3. If you fail, lose 1 action and choose a card type, asset, event, or skill. Discard all non-weakness cards of that chosen type from your hand. I am Will 5 currently. I've got 2 cards I could potentially play, Mask or for my next trick. I'm not going to play either of those. Am I? Am I? I'm not going to play either of those. So we're going 5 against 2. 5 against 3. 2 up. -3. Lose 1 action, so we'll take him to 1 action, so he's already taken, and then we've got to choose a card type. I will choose skill. No cards from but unfortunately Joe does lose 2 cards, a vicious blow and through the cracks, which isn't great, but it is what it is. So dissonance goes, and Joe Diamond's card is going to be Torment. Test will 3. If you fail, we have to do the same thing. Each investigator discards 1 card of that name type from their hand. We're Will 2. Oh, I should have discarded Overpower as well. No, those... Sorry. I knew I had 2. Overpower and Vicious Blow were the 2 skills. I chucked in Through the Cracks, which actually is an event. So my apologies. So Torment, Will test of 3. 3 versus 2. -2. It's not an attack or an evasion. We fail. I will name skill. Joe Diamond has got no skill cards. Dexter has got no skill cards. Nothing else happens. Each investigator discards 1 card of that named. Doesn't say if you don't do that. So there we go. Investigation phase. First action, I'm going to gain a resource up to 2. That was my second action, actually. Third action, I'm going to play on my next trick. Search your deck for a spell or item asset, play it, reducing its cost by 2. So I've got 2 resources to spend, so I can look for anything that's 4. Oh, I've got a gym. Well, I so wish I had charisma. Jim Culver is so good, but he can't come in yet. We've got another mask. Thieves Kit I don't need. Cosmic Flame. I've got a mask in hand. So I'm thinking a Cloak of Resonance. Yeah, I think I'm going to take a Cloak of Resonance, paying 1 for it. That comes into play. Play it, yeah. We shuffle. Catweasel cut. And then I'm going to exhaust Oliver to move back to the sewer. And then that's it for Dexter. Joe Diamond is going to use his first action to do a local map. Investigating against the sewer tunnels. 5 versus 2. 5 versus 2. That is -3. 5 versus 2. We pass. We get the clue. We exhaust local map. Oh no, I don't need to exhaust it. I don't need to exhaust it because I'm not moving to that location. Joe gets a clue. 2 clues. Second action. Let's work our way outwards and inwards. Joe's going to move to this sewer tunnels. Apologies, you can't really see it because of the light, but it is what it is. This is a smuggler's cache. 3 shroud, no clues on it. When you end your turn at this location, gain a resource. Well, there's little point. Now, overgrown tunnels is not connected to the underground system once you turn it over. Sewer tunnels is also not connected to the underground system. So these 2 are both dead ends at the moment. My third action. Third action, I don't need the resource. I don't want to be there. So he's going to move back to the sewer to be with Dexter. Okay. All right. Enemy phase. No enemies in play. Upkeep phase. We ready up. Get our actions back. Dexter gains a resource up to 2 and he draws a card and he gets a Will of the Cosmos. Which is place 1 doom on a player card you control, then discover a clue at your location and 1 clue at a revealed location. No good to me there. Not great in this scenario, I don't think. And Joe Diamond is going to get a resource up to 2 and he's going to draw a card and he's going to get another fedora. Really want me to wear the fedora. That's it for upkeep phase. We're all good for hand size. We move to the mythos phase. We have another preparatory drink of coffee. We put the doom on the agenda. 2 of 6. Dexter draws a card. Dexter draws Blasphemous Invocation. Test Wheel 3. For each point you fail by, place 1 doom on a cultist enemy with no doom on it. If you fail and no doom was placed, search the encounter and discard pile for an occultist enemy and draw it. Shuffle the encounter deck if it was searched. Okay, a will test of 3. A will test of 3. Well, it's going to be a 3 versus 5. Three versus 5. -2. We're not at a ritual site. 3 versus 5. We pass. Joe Diamond is going to get Ashen Rebirth, Test Wheel 4. If you fail, you must either take 2 direct damage or 2 direct horror, whichever you have more of. Okay. Well, Will 2. Oh, I successfully investigated. I should have drawn a card. Dead ends. Actually, makes really no difference in this scenario because this is the last. This is the one we get 2 for experience, but comes into play. There we go. That's my fault for forgetting. That's my deck's way of telling me should remember. What was I doing? So a will test of 4. 4 versus 2. I've got nothing to chuck in. 4 versus 2. The elder sign will help us pass. We don't. We get a -3. Oh, that's the tablet. That's fine. -2 doesn't make any difference though. -4 if you're at a ritual site. We fail. So we take 2 direct damage or 2 direct horror, whichever you have more of. Well, we currently have more sanity at 7. So we're going to be down to 5. 1. 2. Player turn. Player turn. First action. Well, let's start off with Dexter. He's going to Oliver. He's going to go to this sewer tunnel, which is an infested pipe. 1 shroud, 2 clues. Oh, lovely. Oh, that's lovely. After you enter this location, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until an enemy is discarded and you draw it. Okay, so discarding cards and oh, we've got an enemy, Dark Magician, straight off the top. 4 fight, 4 health, 2 to evade, Hunter, retaliate, forced. When the round ends, place 1 doom on an enemy with no doom on it nearest to Dark Magician. Okay. He engages us. I haven't used any actions yet. Two to evade. Well, that just got a bit real. That just got a bit real. Four fight, 4 health, 2 to evade. Okay. I think we're going to have to try and evade him. Decisive strike I've got in my hands. That would be 4 against 4. I mean, it wouldn't defeat the enemy though, because it's +1 damage. So I'd be doing 2 damage to it. So I'm going to use this as an evade tool. So first proper action, we're going to attempt to evade. So we're now at 4 versus 2. 4 versus 2. Oh, he's got retaliate. It is what it is. 4 versus 2. 4 versus 2. Oh my God, how many times? 4 versus 2 minus 2. We do pass. We do pass. He is evaded. Second action, get the hell out of dodge. Okay. Third action, I'm going to play Will of the Cosmos. Place 1 doom on a player card that you control. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Third action, I'm going to draw a card. We get a manual dexterity, a bit of agility. That's it for Dexter. Joe Diamond is going to go. Local map is doing some work. Local map is doing some work. First action. I'm going to investigate using the local map. And we are 5 versus, we're investigating the sewer tunnels, 5 versus 1. Five versus 1. Elder Sign. If you succeed, draw 1 card and gain 1 resource. Okay, so things going on here. First of all, we get a clue from sewer tunnels. So up to 3 clues. We successfully investigated, so I'm going to draw a card using Joe Diamond's skill. We draw an M1911. And we draw a card because of the Elder Sign effect. Of course, we draw a weakness. Jesus. So, hang on a sec. We gain our resource as well from the Elder Sign. Overzealous. Draw the top card of the encounter deck. That card gains Surge. Right. Remember Surge MB. Then draw the top card of the encounter deck. We draw Extra Planar Visions. Test Will or Intellect X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. If you fail, take 1 damage and discard a card at random from your hand. Okay. Now this is a moving target. So we're currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in hand. None of them can be discarded to help with the test. So we are currently 5 versus 4 because we're going to go against intellect. 5 versus 4. Intellect. No, 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 no. Can Dexter help? Dexter will chuck in a Will of the Cosmos to make it 5 versus 5. Five versus 5. -2. We fail. Take 1 damage. So down to 5. We discard a card from our hands at random. We'll discard that one, which is obviously our M1911. That's it. And then we've got a Surge as well. We've got a Surge. Langor. Put Langor into play in your threat area, limit 1 per investigator. After your turn begins, discard the top card of your deck. If it's a weakness, draw it. Otherwise, you cannot play or commit cards of that type. Discard 2 actions. And that was my first action. Second action with Joe is to use his local map to investigate the sewer tunnels. 5 versus 1. 5 versus 1. Okay, we get a resource. We get the clue. So we're at four clues. We've already successfully investigated. His special is once per round, but we do get the card from the Elder Sign effect, and we get a perception. We get a perception. That was his second action. 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you know what? I think at this point for his third action, I'm going to pay 2, down to 2, to put his fedora into play, just to give us a little bit of soak. And that's it for Joe. Oh, that was the investigation phase. Apologies. We go to the enemy phase. The enemy's not ready, so not going to do anything. There's no other enemies in play. We go to the upkeep phase. Ready up. We get our actions back. Oliver readies. Dexter gets to a resource up to 3. Dexter draws a card and he gets Jim Culver. Joe Diamond gets a resource up to 3, draws a card, and he gets a magnifying glass, which is handy. This readies. This readies. Now, the sewer tunnels are connected, or the infested pipes are connected to the underground system. We go to the mythos phase. We put 3 doom on, so 3 of 6. Dexter is going to draw a card. Dexter is going to get Ashen Rebirth, test wheel 4. If you fail, take 2 direct horror or 2 direct damage. Will of 4. I'm 5 naturally. I think Oliver's too important in this game. So I'm going to pitch in Jim to make me 6 versus 4. 6 versus 4. 6 versus 4. Ashen Rebirth. Six versus 4 minus 2. We pass. Joe Diamond is going to get Wild Compulsion, test wheel 3. For each point you fail by, you must either discard a card at random. You must either discard a card at random or lose 1 resource. So 2 versus 3 at the minute. 2 versus 3. Two versus 3. Oh my God, how many times am I going to pull these symbols out? Minus 2. So I lose by 3. I lose by 3. So for each point you fail by, you must either discard 1 card at random from your hand or lose 1 resource. Can you do a mixture of both? I think you can. So I think I'll lose 1 resource and I'll discard 2 cards. that one, and that one. So what we've lost is through the cracks and a perception. Okay. We've kept our vision or counter attack, which is nice, and we've kept our magnifying glass, which is nice. We go to the investigation phase. Well, it seems like these are bad. Whenever you move into them, they're bad. But we have to keep going. We've got 4 clues so far. We've got 4 clues. Dexter has got some stuff out. So I think for Dexter's first action, he's going to spend 3, so down to 0, to play the Mask of Silenus. Comes in with 3 charges. And we can use it when you would reveal a chaos token, spend 1 charge, reveal an additional token, choose one of those tokens to resolve and ignore the other. If you resolve the token with a symbol, take 1 horror. Works quite nicely with Cloak of Resonance. So that was his first proper action. Got a manual dexterity. Then he's going to exhaust Oliver. We're going to move over to this sewer tunnel. And it is going to be Blooded Crypt, 4 shroud, 2 clues. When you end your turn at this location, take 1 horror. Well, we're not going to end there, I don't think. That was my second action to move. I really need something to give me damage. Now, what I'm thinking about doing, what I'm thinking about doing is, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but we'll finish off Dexter in a second. But Jim's down here. Jim's turn's going to be fairly wasted because we're going to have to get rid of this Langle. So that's going to be 2 actions. The Dark Magician is then going to move in the enemy phase. I want Jim to be here when the Dark Magician comes in, because then I can use counterattack, dealing 1 damage to it, which will take it down to 3 health. And then the next turn, Jim could just literally punch it 3 times. So let's finish off Dexter's turn. So he's going to end his turn there. So third action, we'll do some second sight. We'll investigate using our willpower. But it is only 5 against 4. I am going to do the mask, and I believe the timing of this is it says when you would reveal a chaos token, spend 1 charge, reveal an additional token. So it's not, you have to decide to do it before you reveal, because it would either say after you reveal a chaos token, spend 1 charge. So I'm spending 1 charge on mask to investigate at 5 versus 4. That's all I've got. Manual dexterity. 5 versus 4. Drawing 2. So first one is -2. Second one is a 0. Clearly, I'm going to decide to resolve the 0 token, which means I pass. Now I spend a charge off of second sight, because it says if you succeed, you may spend 1 charge to discover 1 additional clue at your location. If you reveal a cultist token during this test, remove 1 charge from second sight. If you cannot, I did reveal a cultist token, even though I didn't use it. I did reveal it, so I'm going to have to get rid of a second sight token there. But I do get 2 clues off of sewer tunnels. That's a bit annoying that I've used that, but there we go. So we get 2 clues for Dexter. So we are now at 6. That's it for Dexter. We end his turn there. We take a horror. I am going to take it on myself down to 7. Saving Cloak. Cloak's got some soak. Now, Joe Diamond. After your turn begins, discard the top card of your deck. It is an emergency cash event. We cannot play or commit cards of that type, so we cannot play any events this turn. I will spend 2 actions to get rid of Langer, leaving me 1 action. I am going to spend 1 to replace the local map. I've got nothing that can refill that with a magnifying glass. That's it for Joe. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing that. I'm going to keep these 2 for the time being. For the time being, there is a reason. So for his 3rd action, I'm going to gain a resource. Done. Enemy phase. Dark Magician moves down and engages with Joe. He goes to attack him. I will spend 1 down to 2 to play counter attack. Play when an enemy attacks an investigator at your location before resolving attack. Cancel that attack. Deal 1 damage to the enemy. Down to 3. That's it for the enemy phase. We go to the upkeep phase. We ready up. Oliver gets ready. We get our actions back. Dexter gains a resource up to 1 and draws a card. He gets fearless. Joe Diamond goes up to 3, draws a card, and he gets a perception. We're all good. We go to the mythos phase. We go to 4 of 6. Dexter is going to draw a Langor. Langor goes into our threat area. Joe Diamond is going to draw, oh my goodness. Here we go. Cantor of Flames, 2/2 enemy. 2/2 enemy. He's got 2 enemies in play. He's got retaliate as well. Oh dear. Where's your stuff, Joe? Where's your stuff? We go to the investigator phase. I do think we need to move this on. Now, is the sewer tunnels connected? The sewer tunnels is connected. The flooded crypt, sorry, is connected to the underground cistern. So Dexter is going to exhaust Oliver to move to, and I just realised I had +1 agility from Oliver, so I would have can't remember that. Apologies if you were shouting at the screen. So Dexter is going to spend 6 clues as a group, so 2 from him and 4 from Joe. So that's our 6 in total. We lose our clues. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. As an additional cost to enter, you spend your clues. We'll flip that over. What does it say? It's got 4 shroud, 2 clues per investigator. If there are no clues on an underground system, place clues from the token pool on it up to its clue value. When the investigation phase ends, discard each ready non-elite cultist enemy at this location. Place 1 doom on the agenda for each enemy discarded this way. Okay, getting interesting. So 4 clues on it. We complete our objective. When an investigator enters underground cistern, advance. So this is the ritual site. The chanting leads you through a labyrinth of tunnels to a dry cistern. Several dozen robed figures kneel before a burning birch tree, chanting. Your friend is among them. You must stop them before they sacrifice themselves. Spawn the set-aside Elakos enemy at underground cistern. Faint embers side face up. The investigator at underground cistern draws one of the set-aside fire treacheries. Shuffle each other copy of fire into the encounter deck along with the set aside Queen's Knight and Herald of Flames enemy. Place the set aside sluice control location into play. Well, that wasn't very good. So let's just do that. Sluice control is connected to the underground cistern. That's it. Elikos, I'll deal with that in a second, and fire. So right, Elikos I'll come back to, fire I'll come back to. So the Herald of Flame and the Queen's Knight plus these fire get shuffled into the encounter deck. So let's do that. Right, we'll give these a very good shuffle up. We'll give them a cat weasel cut. Let's move Dexter out of the way for a sec. We're going to put a copy of fire at the underground cistern. When an investigator phase ends, each non-elite card with health and location takes 1 direct damage. Test agility 3. If you succeed, put out the fire. So that's there at the cistern. And Elikos is there as well. 5 fight, 5 health, or plus, so 15 health, 5 to evade, massive retaliate, hits for 3 and 3, spend 1 clue, 2 clues, place 1 clue on Elikos if Elikos has 5 clues on her resolution 2. So we've got to try and get 10 clues to then do something. Okay, so Elikos is at the underground cistern, as is Dexter. Was it an action to do that? It wasn't an action. So then we've got stop the right. You must stop the right at any cost. You could scour the cistern for means to stop the cult, or you could try to chop down the profane idol to tinder. Spend 2 clues as a group. Discard a copy of fire at your location. Force, when the round ends, each cultist enemy moves once towards underground cistern. Objective, if Elikos is defeated, advance. Okay. So Dexter's still got 3 actions to use. Dexter's still got 3 actions to use. Shroud of 4 doesn't feel great. Two actions to get into the sluice. Or 2 clues to get into the sluice. Bear with me for a sec. Bear with me. So first non-action was to do the Olivia thing. Then I've got to discard a card once my turn begins. It's an asset card I've discarded. So I can't play any asset cards this turn. I've both got 2 skill cards. I'll use my 2 actions to get rid of Langer. And I think my 3rd action one action left with Dexter. That act advancing. That wasn't very positive. It wasn't very positive. Got to try and disengage from Elikos. Massive. Massive, massive. An exhausted enemy with a massive keyword is not considered to be engaged with any investigators. So we can disengage from it. But that's his last action. I've got no action to move out of there. And I'm going to take a damage from fire. But that was a bad move, MB, I think. Thought I was getting on quite nicely there. So let's have a go at disengaging from Elikos. I'm 3, 4 with Oliver. I'll play a manual dexterity to make us 6 versus 5. I will remove a charge from the mask to draw 2 tokens, 6 versus 5. 6 versus 5. The first token is a 0. Second token is -3. Clearly, we will discard that one. 0. 6 versus 5. We pass, which means Elikos is exhausted. Well, that is it for Dexter's turn. He draws a card for manual dexterity. He's going to get another fearless. Doesn't really help us. Doesn't really help us. Joe Diamond. That was his 3rd action. Investigation phase ends. Okay, Joe Diamond's going to have to deal with this magician. Oh, dear, oh dear. First action. Going to fight. I will spend a resource to give me +2 fight. So I'm 6 versus 4 at the moment. Because its endurance is +2 if it's an attack or an evasion. So 6 versus 4. When the round ends, I should have placed a doom on an enemy with no doom on it nearest to Dark Magician. I take it he's nearest to himself, so I put it on him. So we're 6 versus 4. 6 versus 4. -2. We hit him for 1. Second action. Gonna fight. I'm gonna spend 1 resource on endurance to make it 6 versus 4 again. 6 versus 4. -2. If this is an attack or an evasion targeting a cultist enemy, which it is, we draw another token. Yes, +1. Right, we do the damage, so it takes him to 3. Oh, God. Oh. We draw a card and gain a resource. Gain a resource up to 2, and we draw a card, which is an emergency cash. Third action, that's handy, because I'm now going to spend 2 resources down to 0 to give us +4. So I'm 8 versus 4. 8 versus 4. -2. We do the last point of damage to the Dark Magician. Doom comes off him. And he actually goes into our little victory display of victory 1. We'll put him up there. But we can't do anything about the Cantor of Flames, unfortunately. That's it for Joe. Okay. We go to the enemy phase. Cantor is going to hit us for 1. I'll put it on the fedora. The fedora pops. He knocked me hat off. He knocked my hat off. That's right, it's not happening yet. I'm just checking some things out. We go to the upkeep phase. We ready up. Oliver gets ready. Joe gets ready. Dexter gets ready. Elakos gets ready. When the investigation phase ends, I should have taken 1 direct damage onto Dexter. 1 direct damage onto Dexter takes him down to 4. We've readied up. We get our actions back. Dexter gets a resource and draws a card. He draws into Out of Sight. Okay. Okay. Handy. Joe Diamond is going to gain a resource up to 1. And he's going to draw a card and he gets a bodyguard. Handy. Handy. Right. That's the end of the round. And the reason why I say that, it says when the round ends, each cultist enemy moves towards the underground cistern. The Cantor is going to move to this sewer tunnel here because it's the same distance. Yeah. We check our hand size. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Joe Diamond, 3 for Dexter. think that's it, isn't it? We go to the mythos phase. 5 of 6 on the agenda. Cult magician's gone, who had the doom on him, so we're all good. We draw our encounter card. We draw Dexter's encounter card, which is Dissonance. Test will 3. If you fail, lose 1 action and choose a card type. 5 at the moment. I'll play a Fearless to take us to 7 versus 3. 7 versus 3. Jeez, -3. 7 versus 3, we still pass. And we do get to heal a horror because of Fearless. Back up to 8. Dissonance is gone. We passed it. Joe Diamond is going to get a fire. Attach fire to the nearest location without fire attached. The nearest. So let's put it into the sewer tunnels. That makes thematic sense. That's it. Investigation phase. Dexter needs to get the hell out of Dodge. Really? But does he do a cheeky investigate beforehand? Okay. I think Dexter does a cheeky investigate beforehand. So for his first action, he's going to investigate using second sight, using his willpower. So on willpower 5, I will put a Fearless in to make me 7. 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4. -1. There are some numbers in there. We successfully investigate. We could heal a horror, but we're already at max anyway. I will remove a charge from second sight to gain 2 clues rather than 1. We didn't reveal a cultist token. One. 2. Now I think we need to choose. I am as a reaction, I'm going to spend those 2 clues, 1, 2, to put a clue token onto Elokos. 1 of 4, 5, 1 of 5 now. So we've got 4 more to do. For my second action, I'm going to attempt to evade Elokos. This is a bit of a chancer. This is a bit of a chancer. Going to attempt to evade it. I'm at 3, 4. I'll play an outside to make me 5. It's 5 versus 5. I am going to use a mask to draw 2 tokens. This is a bit of a prayer. I'm not going to be winning by 2 or more, I don't think. So we're at 5 versus 5. Ooh. 5 versus 5, drawing 2 tokens. First token. Bloody -2. Second token. Come on. Come on. Come on. Auto fail. Oh. Elokos has got retaliate. Elokos has got retaliate. Just checking retaliate only happens when you attack it. Wowzers. I'm gonna Oliver and move out down to the sewer tunnels here. I will get an attack of opportunity. Oh, cannot make attacks of opportunity. Why didn't I read that before? It's such a plonker. Ah, read the card, MB. See, that is not to my favour. I just wasted stuff. My fault for not reading the card. Cannot make attacks of opportunity. I could just move out. It's such a plonker. Such a plonker. Read the cards. All right. So that we move into the sewer tunnels using Oliver. When you end your turn at this location, choose and discard a card from your hand. Comes in with 2 clues on it. So we can keep popping in and out of there. That is, oh no, one more action from Dexter. One more action, I'm going to draw a card. We get a guts. Not the best for us. Not the best for us. That is it for Dexter. Joe Diamond. First action. Play emergency cash to get 3 resources. Takes me up to 4. Second action. Pay 3 down to 1 for bodyguard. Third action. Pay 1 for magnifying glass, replacing local map. Joe Diamond's done. He's not moved. Come on, Joe. Dexter's doing all the heavy lifting round here. But we're set. We're set a little bit. We go to the enemy phase. Cantor hasn't got Hunter, so he's just going to stay there. When the investigation phase ends, each non-elite card with health at this location takes 1 direct damage. Cantor of Flames is not an elite, so he takes the damage. No other enemies in play. Elikos is obviously hanging out. We go to the upkeep phase. We ready up. Dexter's going to gain a resource up to 3 and he's going to draw Silver Tongue. Joe Diamond's going to go up to 1 resource and draw a card, which is Machete. We're going down the investigating route. I think we're going to try and put 5 clues onto this bad boy. I think that's what we're going to do. Only we had another local map. Only we had another local map. Get our actions back. We ready up Oliver. That's it for the upkeep phase. We go to the Mythos phase. It is 6 of 6. So we take the Doom off. We're going to read agenda. Flame in the dark. From somewhere deep within the bowels of the city, a searing flame grows in intensity. Those who bear the mark of the Queen arise to herald her return. If the servant of flame enemy is set aside, spawn it at the underground cistern. So servant of flame is going to pop in there next to Elikos. Each investigator must test will 4. Each investigator who fails takes 1 direct horror. Okay. And then we've got 2A, the ritual. Each enemy at a location with a copy of fire attached cannot be damaged. There's 10 on it. So we're going to do a will test of 4. Let's just leave that out for a sec. A will test of 4, you say? We're going to start off with Dexter. I am going to play a guts just really because I want to draw the card. So we're going to make it 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4. -3. 7 versus 4. We pass. We draw a card for guts. We're going to get Mask of Silliness. That could be quite handy. That could be quite handy. Joe Diamond is going to test a will of 2. A will of 2. That's it. A will of 2. 2 versus 4. Skull is the number of fire treacheries in play, which is 2. -2, we still fail. We take 1 direct horror. Down to 4. For Joe. Oh, 1 direct horror. Sorry, 1 direct horror. Not damage. He can go back up. And he's down to 4. $10 doom on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, 10 doom. We haven't even drawn our Mythos card yet, our encounter card. So, Dexter is going to draw his encounter card. Dexter gets a Putrid Vapors. Test agility 3. If you fail, take 1 horror and discard a non-story asset you control. Agility 3. I'm 4. I'm going to leave it at 4 versus 3. 4 versus 3. Bloody Nora. -3. If you fail, draw the topmost copy of fire in the encounter discard pile. Bear with me. So I fail. Take 1 horror. Down to 7. Discard a non-story asset you control. Cards in your hand are considered in your control. So I'll discard Silver Tongue. That's an asset. That's that. And then if you fail, draw the topmost copy of fire in the encounter discard pile. There is no fire in the discard pile. I don't know when they would be in the discard pile. Anyway, I've checked the discard pile. There's no fire in there, so that's that. Draw a card for Dex, for Joe. Cosmic Evils. Well, it's always going to be placing 1 doom on the agenda. I am not, if that didn't have surge on it, I'll probably do it. But taking 1 direct damage and 1 direct horror and then you gain surge, no, thank you. 1 on the agenda. So we go to the investigation phase. First action, I'm going to pay 3, so down to 0. To pay a Mask of Silliness, overriding that mask. Comes in with 3 charges. And as Dexter's special action, after you play an asset, either return a non-story asset you control to your hand. I'm going to return Second Sight to to my hand. Haven't got the resources to pay for it yet, but hopefully will. That was my first action. I'm going to use the remaining 2 actions to gain 2 resources. I need to get this back in play as quickly as possible. Joe's going to be able to help out. And I'm not going to use Oliver there. I'm just going to stay in the sewer tunnels. I know I'm not. Because when you end your turn in the location, choose and discard 1 hand. So I am going to exhaust Oliver to move back down to the sewer culvert. Joe Diamond's going to move up for his first action. He's going to move into the sewer tunnels. 5 versus 3. Second action, I'm going to investigate the sewer tunnels. I'm 4, 5. I'll play a perception to make me 7 versus 3. 7 versus 3. -1. We are successful. We gain a clue. Perception, we draw a card. We draw working a hunch. We successfully investigate, we'll draw a card. We'll draw a Dr. Henry Armitage. Third action, I'm going to gain a resource up to 2. And then I'm going to play work and hunch fast, play only during your turn, pay 2, discover a clue. 2. Do I have to be at the underground cistern to put the clues? I just need to check something. Yeah, I just had a quick check. I mean, it doesn't say, but I'm assuming you have to be at the underground cistern to spend the clues. And that's it for Joe's turn. That was his 3rd activation. Unfortunately, he's going to get a servant by the looks of it. Okay, just thinking. So the investigation phase has ended. This cantor of flames is still at a location with fire. Just trying to see if there's anything that would stop him from being killed by fire. Each non-elite card with health at this location takes 1 direct damage. So he's going to die. I think I'm getting this right. Apologies if I'm getting it wrong. He's going to take 1 more damage and die. When the investigation phase ends, discard each non-ready elite cultist enemy at this location. The Servant of Flames is elite and a cultist, so he's fine. Alikos is obviously fine. So that's it for the investigation phase. We move on to the enemy phase. Hunter hunts. Servant of Flame is going to come down and engage with Joe Diamond, which is not great. Each ready engaged enemy then's attack, so it's going to hit us for 2 and 2. We'll put everything onto the bodyguard, unfortunately. But when he dies, he deals 2 damage to an enemy. So Servant of Flame takes 2 of 8, 2 of 10, so he's down to 8. Boosh, bosh, bosh, bosh. We move on to the upkeep phase. We ready up. Oliver readies. Dexter gains a resource up to 3. He draws a card, which is Cosmic Flame. Cosmic Flame, eh? Joe Diamond is going to gain a resource and draw a card, and he's going to get a fingerprint kit. Hasn't got the money to spend it. Hasn't got the money to spend it. Two. Ouch. Thinking ahead. I'm thinking ahead. Right. We go to the end of the round. When the round end, each cultist enemy moves once towards the underground cistern. So this is a bit confusing. Stop the right says when the round ends, each cultist enemy moves towards the underground cistern. Ah, we should have placed a doom on the agenda. That's what I was missing. So at the end of the investigation phase, the Servant of Flames was at the underground cistern. When the investigation phase ends, discard... Oh, no. It says... When the investigation phase ends, discard each non-ready, non-elite cultist enemy at the location. Place 1 doom on the addenda for each enemy discarded this way. So at the end of the investigation phase, the Servant of Flames, who's a humanoid cultist elite, was with Alikos. Then in the enemy phase, he hunts down, engages with Joe, hits him for 2 and 2, which is fine. But then what the act says, when the round ends, each cultist enemy moves towards the underground cistern. The servant of flame is a humanoid cultist. So he moves back towards Ellicott. I think. That doesn't feel right. Am I going mad? When the round ends, each cultist enemy moves once towards the underground system. That's the way I'm going to play it. That's what it says. He's a humanoid cultist elite. He's got the keyword cultist. Mythos phase. We place one doom on the agenda. 2 of 10. Dexter's going to draw a card. Dexter is going to get a Cantor of Flames. 2/2/2. Bosh. Joe is going to get a Zealot. 2/1/2. Aloof. Aloof. After this enemy enters play, place one doom on it. Right, investigation phase. I need to kill the Servant of Flame because otherwise it's just going to keep bouncing backwards and forwards. Should have got our actions back. I think we'll start off with Dexter. For his first action, he's going to spend 3 and play a Cosmic Flame, which comes in with 3 charges on it. He does take an attack of opportunity from the Cantor, who's going to hit me for 1. That's going to go on to Oliver. Second action, we're going to fight the Cantor of Flames. 2 versus 5. 2 versus 5. Do we do a mask? Do we do a mask? Don't think we do. 2 versus 5. -2. We're not at a ritual site, so we pass. We will spend a charge off of Cosmic Flame. To do +1 damage, doing 2 damage to it. Killing the Cantor. We are then going to Oliver up to be with Joe. Up to be with Joe. Third action. Third action, we're going to gain a resource. Oh. We'll draw a card. Third action, we're going to gain a resource. That's it for Dexter. Joe Diamond. I'm trying to work out what's best next. And I think I'm going to prep for Servant of Flame. So first two actions are to gain 2 resources up to 3. Third action is to spend 3 and bring in Dr. Henry Armitage. That's it for Joe. That's it. Enemy phase. The Servant of Flame is going to come down and it's going to attack. It's going to engage Joe Diamond. Then he's going to hit for 2 and 2. We'll put both of those onto Dr. Henry Armitage. The Zealot is going to just hang around being aloof in the sewer tunnels. We go to the upkeep phase. We get our actions back. We ready up Oliver. We ready up Dexter and Joe. Dexter's going to gain a resource, draw a card. He's got the Mark of Elakos. Put it into your threat area. When the turn ends, take 1 damage, assign that damage to an asset you control if able. Joe's going to gain a resource up to 1. He's going to draw another bodyguard. That's it for the round. When the round ends, the Servant of Flames pops back to Elakos. think that's how it works. I don't know whether I've got that right or not, but it is what it is. We go to the mythos phase. We've got 4, 3 on and 1 on the zealot, 4 of 10. Dexter is going to draw a blasphemous invocation, test will 3. For each point you fail by, place 1 doom on a cultist enemy with no doom on it. If you fail and no doom was put on it, then search the encounter deck. So I'm 5 versus 3. Five versus 3. 0. We pass. Joe Diamond is going to get a fire. Attach fire to a location nearest. Attach fire to the nearest location without fire. That's going to be ours. That's going to be ours. Nice. Zealot still remains there. We go to the investigation phase. What am I doing? What am I doing? Joe's got no resources. Well, I'm going to start off with Dexter. First 2 actions are going to be discard Mark of Elikos. Third action is going to be to gain a resource. He's saving up for second sight. That's Dexter done. Struggling now. Sort of come to a bit of an impasse. I'd like to get the 2 clues off underground cistern, which I can do when the Servant of Flames is nagging about in there, because Elikos doesn't do attacks of opportunity, but Servant of Flames does. and he hits for a big 2 and 2. So between Dexter I'm going to try and set up the next turn if I get a chance. So my first 2 actions for Joe is to gain 2 resources. My third action is to spend those 3 resources, putting in a machete. And hopefully between the machete and the cosmic flame, we can do enough damage to the Servant of Flames to kill it. We need to kill that to start pounding on the clues, is my view. So that is it for Joe. Okay, we can do this. We can do this. When the investigation phase ends, each non-elite card with health at this location. Oh, the zealot should have died. Actually, when the round ends, though, so when the zealot should have moved up. The zealot should have moved up at the end of the last round. Yeah, it should have moved up at the end of the last round. And then when the investigation phase, discard any non... So you've got 2 things here that are in... that are a problem. So you've got a zealot with 1 health at the underground cistern, and there's 2 forced reactions when both of them when the investigation phase ends. Discard on the underground cistern. It says when the investigation phase ends, discard each non-ready cultist enemy at this location. Place 1 doom on the agenda for each enemy discarded this way. But fire says when the investigation phase ends, each non-elite enemy with health at this location takes 1 direct damage. So which one happens first? Which one happens first? I'm gonna do the one that's worse for me, obviously, which is the zealot's gonna go, and we place the doom on the agenda. That's the worst outcome for me, so that's the one I'm gonna do. But those 2, again in the comments, if I'm misinterpreting something here or getting my timings wrong, but both of them are forced, and both of them are when the investigation phase ends. One affects a non-elite card with health, which the zealot is, and one affects a non-elite cultist enemy, which the zealot is. I've done the worst outcome for me, which is placing a doom on the agenda, so we'll stick with that. So that's the end of the investigation phase. We move to the enemy phase. Servant of Flames is going to move down. This time round, he is going to engage Dexter. And he's going to hit Dexter for 2 and 2. I will put 1 damage onto Oliver, killing him, unfortunately. Sorry, Oliver. You are deceased. I will then take the 1 damage remaining, so Dexter's down to 3. I will place 2 horror, the 2 horror, onto the cloak and exhaust it, dealing 1 damage to an enemy, which does put him up to 3 of 10. Oh, there we go. Ritual. Each enemy at a location with a copy of fire attached cannot be damaged. That's my mistake. Not reading the cards again. So I did do it the correct way, which was not to damage him, but to sacrifice him to the ritual. Too much stuff going on a bit. I'm trying to work about 3 turns ahead, and I'm not reading what I'm currently doing. So ritual sorts all of that stuff I just said. It's sorted out by ritual. They don't take damage. That's fine. That's fine. I may have made a mistake earlier with that. Apologies if I did. All right. We go to the upkeep phase. We're going to ready up Cloak. We're going to ready up Dexter and Joe. We're going to get our actions back. Dexter's going to gain a resource up to 4, and he's going to draw a card, and he's going to get Thieves' Kit. Joe's going to get a resource up to 1. He's going to draw a card, and he's going to get a counter attack. Okay. That's it. That's the end of the round. When the round ends, each cultist enemy moves towards the underground system. So the Servant of Flame is going to move back to Elakos. Okay. Okay. That's it for the upkeep phase. And the end of the round. We're going to go to the Mythos phase. We're going to put another one on the agenda. So we're now at 5 of 10. Dexter's going to draw a card. He's going to get Unnatural Decay. Test Will 4. If you fail, you must either place 1 demon on an asset you control or take 2 damage. Okay. 4 versus 5. Can't do anything about it. Can't do anything about it. So 4 versus 5. -3. We fail. I'm not going to take 2 damage, so I'm going to place a Doom on an asset I control. And I'm going to put it on the Cloak. Joe Diamond is going to get a Zealot. Of course he is. Aloof. Okay, fine. When he enters play, place the Doom on it. Well, we need, yeah, I mean, we know what that does. We know what that does now. But I think the more important thing is killing the Servant of Flame, in my opinion. Or is it? I think it is. We go to the investigation phase. What I'm thinking about is Dexter moving in for one, which automatically engages the Servant of Flame. And then I bring him down to the sewer tunnels, but I would take an attack of opportunity there. Which would take me to 1 health and 5 sanity. And then I could do a Cosmic Flame, hopefully doing 2 damage, which would take him to 5. Yeah, see, it's not enough. So if all this goes according to plan, I'd do 2 damage to him. Oh no, I'd do 3 damage to him because I put some horror onto the cloak, which will do a damage. So that would take him to 6. And then Joe Diamond would have to have a go at hitting the Servant of Flame whilst he was engaged with Dexter, because I need 3 attacks at the Servant of Flame to kill it. So he'd be on 6. My first attack with the machete would do 2 to 8. My second attack would do 1 to 9. And my third attack would do 10. But if I miss with any of those, I've killed Dexter. I've killed Dexter. But that's the only way I think I can do 10 damage. Or if I miss, I've got 1 up for a counter attack. Ah, sod it, I'm going for it. We're 2 hours and 21 minutes in, so I'm going for it. So first action from Dexter is going to be to move up to the underground cistern, which automatically engages the Servant of Flame. Then Dexter, for his second action, is going to be to move down to the sewer tunnels, taking an attack of opportunity from the Servant of Flames, who's going to hit me for 2 and 2. I've got nothing I can do in regards to damage, so Dexter's going to take 2, down to 1. Down to 1. And then he's going to put 1 horror onto the cloak of resonance. I'll come back to that in a second. And he will then take 1 horror as well, down to 6. Putting 1 horror, I'll exhaust the cloak of resonance. I won't do it now because it's going to pop. That puts 1 damage onto the Servant of Flames. Cloak of resonance pops with its 3 sanity on it. 3 horror, should I say. Then for Dexter's third action, I am going to fight using my Cosmic Flame. I will use a mask to draw 2 tokens. I will use a mask to draw 2 tokens. Two tokens. That one. It's 5 versus. Oh shit! Sorry, hang on a sec. What was I putting in? What was I putting in? Nothing. I would have put in a bodyguard to make it 6 versus 4. 6 versus 4. Sorry, 6 versus 4. Before I draw the last one. Come on. Be the card. Be the token. 6 versus 4. -3 if you fail, draw the topmost copy of fire. -2, -4 if you're at a ritual site. I'm not at a ritual site. I'm not at a ritual site, so it's -2. 6 versus 4, I win. 6 versus 4. I'll remove a charge from Cosmic Flame to do +1 damage. So I'm doing 2 damage to it. So it's now at 6. And that is it for Dexter. On 1 health. Now, Joe Diamond. He's going to attack. Going to fight with a machete. So fight of 5. 5 versus 4. I can't spend the endurance. I've only got 1, which I need to save for counter-attack, just in case. So 5 versus 4. This is not good odds. He's got retaliate as well. Oh, God. Committed. Committed. No. Sod it. I'm spending the resource to give me +2 fight. So I am, and I might as well spend the counter attack to make me 7 versus 4. 7 versus 4. -4. -4. I fail. Oh, God. I fail. So he hits me for 2 and 2. No, I fail, and I'm gonna hit. I get a retaliate first of all for 2 and 2. I'll put 1 and 1 onto Dr. Henry Armitage, which kills him. Henry Armitage goes. I take 1. I take 1. 1, 1. And I'm pretty sure because I've missed, I hit Dexter. Yep, I do machete. It would be 1 damage. I'm not going to exhaust machete. So unfortunately, Joe Diamond has swung at the Servant of Flame and missed and hit Dexter, doing his 1 remaining damage. So Dexter's dead. Dexter is dead or unconscious, whichever way you want to look at it. The Servant of Flame then engages with Joe Diamond. That was my first action. Second action. Second action. Going to move down to the sewer culvert, taking an attack of opportunity from the Servant of Flame, down to 2 and 1. So I take 2, 2 and 2. 1, 1, 2, 2. And then for my third action, I am going to resign. I am resigning. Joe just realised he's really severely or killed his buddy Dexter, and on that, nearing absolute insanity, runs away from all of the shenanigans that's going on in the sewers. That's quite a fitting ending, really. Yeah, wasn't going to be able to do that, unfortunately. We struggled. I mean, I say we struggled. I enjoyed it first and foremost. Anyway, before we do that, let's read what's happened. So if no resolution was reached, in brackets, each investigator had resigned or was defeated. Dr. Armitage barely escapes the sewers alive, racked with guilt at leaving his companions behind. By dawn, an unquenchable fire has spread through all of Easttown, claiming countless lives. Although the Arkham Fire Department tries its best, the flame rages for 3 days before finally dying out. Those who fled whisper of unspeakable visions, terrifying ghoulish faces staring out of the flames that still haunt them. Doctors and nurses are still unable to identify the source of the victim's strange bruises, which will not heal. Any trace of Armitage's companions, as well as the Brethren of Ash, have been eradicated in the Inferno. In your campaign log, record Elakos was reborn. Each investigator is killed. The investigators lose the campaign. Well, there we go. We've lost the campaign. We've lost the battle. We haven't lost the war. I intend to replay the Brethren of Ash. Not straight away. I'm going to play some Marvel Champions next, I think. Getting a bit of a hankering for some Marvel Champions, and it's nice and easy to record on the channel. I'm not playing a lot of Marvel Champions, but I'll play some. A friend of mine at local gaming club, Wayne, if you're watching, I'll be playing some Marvel Champions just to sort of, you know, a little bit of a rinse and repeat sort of thing, to you know, try and make me forget the Brethren of Ash campaign. Now, my thoughts on the Brethren of Ash campaign. Now, there are a lot of people out there much more into Arkham Horror, all massive there, you know, that have done reviews and their thoughts on the campaign. I'm only going to give you my view, and that's my view, sitting here in the Batcave, playing Chapter 2. It's okay. It's okay. The starter decks are weird, in my opinion. They're not be interesting. I've got the other investigator decks, the ones that are coming out, the 5 or so that are coming out. I've got those on order, so it'll be interesting to see how those play. I understand that these are starter decks, and maybe what the Fantasy Flight are doing are putting a card pool together, and then they're having to create starter decks out of the starter pool or the core pool that they want. But the decks don't feel, they feel a bit not finished. They feel a bit weird in how they've been designed and what cards are in them, because the agility side of Dexter, unless I'm missing something, I'm pretty much, it's not my bag. I'm not. I mean, Lucky Cigarette Case, okay, fine. The Hammerless, using agility when I'm 3, not great. Thieves Kit, investigating at 3, okay, better than 2. Oliver Bishop, brilliant. Silver Tongue, +1 to my intellect, which is I'm at 2. Never going to play that in a month of Sundays. I mean, Manual Dexterity is all right on a push. Decisive Strike, obviously, I put in because there wasn't really anything else to spend. So the agility side of Dexter Drake for me just doesn't really gel. And I get his stat is 3. I mean, he's 5.223, but you've got to be 4. You've got to be 4 really for me to be sort of like, okay. Now I get that he's Willie's 5, so I get that, but doesn't really make any sense. Joe Diamond, the Fedora, waste of a card slot in my opinion. Yeah, he's got some good blue cards. I mean, we'll see as the campaign and chapter 2 increases in card size. There's some not too bad. Through the Cracks, again, agility. Is agility 2? When am I ever going to be using that? You get +1 for this evasion. Okay, well, I'm at 3. For each clue you control. Okay, very, very situational. A wasted card. Some other half decent cards in there, but that's just me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some Legacy. I'm allowed to. They're my cards, and I can do what I want with them. And I'm going to play some Legacy. So what I'm going to do is I might recreate a Dexter Drake and a Joe Diamond deck from the Legacy cards, and then take them through the Brethren of Ash campaign in a few weeks to see how they play. And I think that'd just be interesting to see how it goes. Unfortunately, we didn't win the campaign, but that's all right. That's fine. There's another time to win it. And I will kind of call it there. We're nearly 2.5 hours in. So I hope you've enjoyed this playthrough. Hope you've enjoyed chapter 2. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not judging chapter 2 on this release because, like anything, like with a living card game, the card pool is going to increase. The abilities, the deck construction is going to increase. So I get this as a starting point. So I think it's a good starting point. That's my overall opinion of chapter 2. I enjoyed the scenarios. They're quite difficult with the starter decks we've got. But it's a challenge, and it should be a challenge. And on that profound note, I'm going to stop drivelling on, and I'm going to say ta-ra for now. Bye-bye.